Holidays, everyone. I hope you had a great holiday, whatever you celebrate. I hope you had a good week so far with your kiddos if they're home. I was wanting to talk about a topic that I brought up in my Facebook group, which is about disappointment around gift giving or gift getting, and what to do when your kids complain about it or are like, ungrateful and they express really negative views on what they've gotten. And, it's hard because we as parents work really hard to figure out what our kids want. And we do all this stuff to get ready for the holidays. And then when they complain or they give us feedback that's negative, it can be devastating. And so I think that this is a really important topic because not only does it apply to the holidays, it applies to everything your kiddos experience, everything you experience with them. There's going to be a lot of complaining. There's going to be a lot of disappointment, and there's going to be a lot of ungratefulness. And so I think it's a really, really important topic. And one of the people that responded to what I posted about disappointment and gift giving is the idea that the complaining is showing that mom that the child does not feel gratitude, right? So she wants to teach her child about gratitude and letting things go when they don't always end up the way you want to, right? So being able to be flexible around that, or even finding a different solution, which I love, but she doesn't know how to balance like the idea of we need to validate the disappointment, make room for it, and also how do we help them be happy with what they have, right? Be grateful for what they have at the same time. And so one of the most important things I want you to ask yourself and tell yourself is, of course, I'm disappointed that my child is not happy with what I did, right? So like, of course, like that's got to be really hard. Then once you're able to get into a place of like, okay, I can be at peace with the fact that this is how my child is reacting. I maybe even can get to acceptance with this is how she's feeling. Then we can ask ourselves, what am I making it mean about my child or about me that they're complaining about their gifts? And a lot of times we're making it mean that like we're not good enough parents or our kids are ungrateful. And I just want to offer to you guys that those are all thoughts. They're all optional. We don't have to automatically go to, I did something wrong when our kid is ungrateful or complains, because it's not the case almost ever. And even if our, their expectation doesn't line up with what we actually provide for them, that doesn't mean you've done something wrong either. You've made a really conscious decision to do something, and their reaction is their thought process. It's their own model, right? It's their own thinking. It's not reflection of how good you are as a parent or how well you did as a gift giver. It's all about them. And so that's what I want you to remember is that when your child is complaining or ungrateful, it's just communication. They are telling you what they feel. They're giving you feedback as to their state emotionally, what they're struggling with. If you're on now, I'd love to hear if you guys had kids that melted down or complained or got disappointed after some of the gift giving. Again, because it is super common. I think almost every family is going to have this situation happen to them. And it's just normal. Kids have these expectations that are so high around gift giving that when they hit the actual situation, it's always going to be a letdown. Nothing can match their expectations. So there's always going to be some disappointment. So this is an amazing opportunity for you guys to teach how to handle disappointment, because inevitably they're all going to feel it. And so this is why I want to, that's your goal, essentially. This is how I want you to view when your kids are complaining. They're communicating to me that they feel disappointed. That's it. And I get to teach them how to handle disappointment. I'll talk about gratitude in a minute, but the idea of when someone is disappointed, if you say to them, you should be grateful for what you have, like this is ridiculous, that is not going to help the situation. Like imagine if you were disappointed because you didn't get a job and your husband or wife says to you, you should just be grateful that you have life, or you're breathing right now, or we have, food and shelter. You'd be like, what the heck? That's not fair, right? You want someone to be disappointed with you. You want someone to be like, yes, of course you're disappointed. No matter how ridiculous it might feel for you as the parent that your child's, not happy with what they got, It's valid. Whatever they are feeling is totally valid. And we want to be able to let them express that disappointment. We don't want to make them feel like they have to please us or pretend that they're happy. That creates people pleasers. It creates people that don't care enough about how they feel. They only care about how other people view how they feel. We don't want to create a culture of children that are solely focused on saying that they're happy with something just to please others. I mean, of course, there is an appropriate way to express your disappointment, but that's completely a different subject. If they are disappointed or if they're feeling something, we don't want them to have to repress it in order to save other people's feelings, to take care of other people's feelings. We don't really want to teach that to them. And that's why parents have such a great place in their lives to be able to let them do that, because they can do it from a neutral place and know that this is them feeling open and vulnerable in a place that they feel safe. They feel safe to tell you they're disappointed. They know you're not going to reject them because they're disappointed about something or however they feel. And that's so powerful. And I just want to tell you that it's so powerful that you are there for your kids in that way. And so when they are complaining or when they are disappointed, we want to just take it as information. This is how they feel. I want to be a safe space for them to be able to feel, and teach them how to appropriately express it so that we're not outwardly being rude when we don't need to be. But sometimes that takes practice. Always that takes practice. So the younger the child is, or the less practice that they've had, the worse they're going to be at being appropriate around expressing their disappointment, right? So I want you to really remember that this is how you teach your child to to express themselves appropriately and to have gratitude, is to allow the bad feelings to come out first, right? And then we can talk through, okay, now that we've talked through how you feel and it's totally valid and understandable that you got a present you weren't happy with, now how do we want to handle it so that we are being careful to not run over other people's feelings on purpose, but also being true to how we feel? How can we balance those two things? That's an amazing lesson to teach your kids. But first we do need to validate them. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that we're not just allowing them to be rude or ungrateful. We are first allowing for all that bad stuff to come out and then using it as an opportunity to teach how to handle it. And you are the one that's just going to be there to hear all the complaining, okay? You are the one that they're going to feel comfortable doing that around. And eventually, trust me, as you work to coach your child through some of these emotions, they will get better at expressing it in a nicer way. That's the goal. But know if they're not there yet, it's a skill that you can help them learn, okay? We don't want to make them people please. We don't want to be in that place where they feel like they have to take care of others people's feelings all the time. We want them to be able to be honest and open with what they are actually feeling, right? So I hope that helps. This, if you have this happen to you in your household, if you want help with us, this is how I help my clients. I help them learn how to emotionally coach their children so that they are able to express themselves appropriately in a way that isn't shaming and isn't rude and isn't disrespectful, but honors how your child actually feels, so that they don't need to be people pleasers, that they can actually be true to who they are and what they feel. That's so powerful that you have that ability in your position as parent to be that person for your child. So reach out to me if this is something you struggle with. This is what I teach my clients, and it helps everything in your parenting. Everything in their behavior will change once you're able to help them manage how they feel and actually express it in a way that is appropriate. All right. Have a great rest of the week. Great New Year's and New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, and I will be back. Take care.